Meet Jonathan Bird, one of the world's top underwater nature cinematographers. Traveling the world on assignment for all the major networks, he is an Emmy Award-winning authority on the underwater world. In freshwater or salt, reefs, wrecks, or caves, Jonathan documents the world beneath the waves. Welcome to the Blue World.
The Galapagos. These remote islands are one of my favorite places in the world to dive. The land ranges from desert-like and inhospitable to lush and green. And the Galapagos are famous for endemic species such as the massive land tortoise that munches on grass and leaves, and the marine iguana. Underwater, huge schools of hammerhead sharks patrol the drop-off. And a sea lion, apparently knowing that it's a protected species, sleeps peacefully just inches from my lens. The sea lions in the Galapagos are so comfortable around people that they've even taken over a few of the marinas. Good luck walking down these steps. Out on a beach, a sea lion mother sleeps peacefully while her pup nurses. Pretty soon it will be mom's turn to go feed and the pup will rest.
This is a 3-month-old pup, and he's still nursing from his mother, but she's out at sea feeding right now, and he's taking a nap.
Even though sea lions rest on land, their true personality can only be seen underwater. So I'm gearing up for a dive near a sea lion colony to see what they think of me. I board the Zodiac with my cameraman Pierre for a short trip to Cousins Rock.
You ready?
Uno, dos, tres.
Pierre and I roll into the chilly water, and within seconds, a young sea lion buzzes me. The younger ones are the most playful. Once they figure out that I'm in the mood to play with them, the sea lions come from every direction, zooming past my camera lens, blowing bubbles, and generally making me feel like a pretty pathetic swimmer. The sea lions are lithe and flexible, able to twist and turn on a dime, bending their bodies into what seems like impossible angles. Soon I'm approached by a larger animal, an adult male sea lion. When it comes to sea lions, the adult males have control over a section of beach, a section of water, and all of the females and younger males in the area. This guy wants to know who's messing with his section of ocean and whether or not I pose a threat. I'm not sure what his strange croaking vocalizations mean, but he certainly finds my camera lens interesting. It's important that I do not do anything to challenge him, because he has big teeth and he can bite. Finally, he decides I'm not doing anything to cause concern and departs. Then the younger sea lions go back to their antics, hanging upside down and playing in a little overhang under the reef.
You know, very few animals in the ocean will play with people. And sea lions are probably the most playful. It's so great. I mean, you get into the water and they're like puppy dogs. They just love divers. They want to play and hang out for hours. It's just great fun.
My experience in the Galapagos with sea lions showed me that these animals are a lot like dogs. They're curious, playful, and seem to enjoy interaction with people. But how smart are they? I want to learn more about these aquatic puppy dogs.
So I've come to the Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut to learn about sea lions from some experts.
Since 1973, the Mystic Aquarium in Mystic, Connecticut has been one of the premier public aquaria in the United States. Their exhibits, both large and small, highlight underwater life from around the world. Perhaps one of their most famous exhibits is the outdoor beluga whale habitat, where sometimes it's not actually clear who is watching whom. The Mystic Sea Lion program is famous around the country for the amazing skills they have taught to their California sea lions. The Mystic Sea Lion team is going to show me how they train the animals and how smart they are. First, I meet with sea lion trainer Deborah Pizzaglia.
For a week. Chances are that consequence is going to cause.
She introduces me to the largest sea lion at Mystic, a big male named Coco.
Hi, big guy.
Wow.
Good. This is Coco.
Hi, Coco.
He is 24 years old. He weighs over 700 pounds.
I'm a little nervous about getting a smooch from an 800-pound sea lion, but this is my job. Ooh, fish breath.
Good boy. There you go. You can stand up. You're all set.
I'm gonna tell you what. That's a big animal.
Next, I meet a smaller sea lion named Boomerang, and Deb shows me how they start the training program.
So this is Boomerang. He's 4 years old.
It involves a lot of fish and a bright ball on a stick as a target to keep the animal's attention.
Trusting relationship. Once we establish that, we pair that word good that I was telling you about with the fish. Fade out the target to actually being a hand signal. Good. And then pretty soon it's just ta-da. Good. Well, hello. Good boy. Good. So when we train the animals, we give them lots of hand signals that gets them to do the behaviors we want them to do. Good. And we're going to let you see what it's like to be a trainer.
All right.
Good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use those targets again, and I'm going to...
Now it's my turn to try training.
Stand up, and you're going to stand right next to him over here.
Okay.
We're going to back up a little bit. There you go. Here we are. That's perfect. So now when I give you the hand signal, he's going to switch his focus over to you.
Okay.
And that's when I'm going to have you put your fists together.
Fists together.
Fists
right.
together.
Okay.
You can drop him.
That is the signal to burp?
Actually, you know what's funny about that? He didn't do the right behavior. That's not what he was supposed to do.
Really?
Not at all.
Oh.
Good. So I didn't reinforce him. I just let him sit there for a second. We did that LRS.
Okay.
Remember?
All right.
All
Got
right.
it.
If you want to do that behavior, let's let you do that behavior. Here we go. Good. All right. Let me try this one more time. Bark. Good. All right, here's your time to shine. Let's see how good of a trainer you are. Ready?
Okay.
Here with him.
Hey! Good work.
Good. All right, he got one right. We'll give him a high five for that. Good boy. All right, let's see if we can have you get him.
Later, I head behind the scenes to learn what it takes to keep these sea lions healthy and well fed.
This is Julie.
Hi, Julie. Jonathan, I'd shake your hand, but you.
Inevitably, these things always seem to involve some smelly fish.
Even though we get this from restaurant distributors and it's the same fish that you would get if you went and ordered it, we want to make sure that it's really high quality and we're not feeding the animals anything that will make them sick.
I meet trainer Jen Rigo, who happened to pull fish duty today.
Any fish that have cuts in them, like this is
We have to thaw, sort, and inspect the fish.
potential for bacteria to get in there, and we don't want to feed that to our animals.
You guys need some sharks. They love the ones with the cuts in them.
We make sure that there's nothing that's going to make our sea lions sick.
Yeah, this one's like a board.
Yep, so we're going to run him under the water and let him kind of soften up a little bit so he's got a little bit of that fish wiggle to him. Perfect.
Nice. Come back. Maybe we can revive them.
I don't know if the sea lions want to work for their fish.
How pliable does he need to be?
They do this 6 times a day. Those sea lions are hungry.
So we are finally done
Yay.
with our fish for this session.
That's a lot of fish, I'm just saying. Wow.
So right here, this is all the fish the sea lions eat for 1 out of 6 sessions of the day.
Wow, so you start again in 2 hours.
Exactly.
Hopefully we'll be out of here by then.
Next, trainer Kristen Patty takes me out to the stage where I'll try one of the less glamorous jobs in the Mystic Aquarium.
These go right over my shoes then.
They should.
These are like
Hopefully
like
they'll fit.
galoshes, you know? All right, here we go. What if my foot's too big? I don't think it's going on. Oh, they're never gonna come off. Now I wear muck boots. Oh, it's never a good sign when you gotta put on footwear like this before you get started. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
We're gonna go in the back and go on stage.
Okay.
We'll probably hose off some of this nice big poop right here.
All right, we're hosing some poop. All right, stand back. Stand back, crazy man with a hose. All right. And they're like, oh, don't hose that in the water with us. What are you doing? I think this one's dried on.
It is, so you might have to actually scrub it off a little first.
Oh, yeah. That is much more effective, I must say.
Let's just say that the smell of sea lion poop is unpleasant. Not a job I want to do every day. My day at the Mystic Aquarium is a lot of fun. What did I learn? Sea lions are very smart, at least as intelligent as dogs. Some of the sea lions at the Mystic Aquarium know more than 100 commands and hand signals.
Good job.
But when they aren't performing in the show, they're still just fun-loving sea lions goofing around underwater to the delight of people of all ages. Whales are the largest animals on Earth, yet ironically, they're one of the most difficult animals to see and film. Normally, humpbacks are found in the cool and rich waters of the temperate seas. But every year, for a short period of time, humpback whales from the North Atlantic migrate to the warm and clear waters of the Caribbean to mate and give birth.
And one of the largest gathering places in the world is the Silver Banks in the Dominican Republic.
The Dominican Republic occupies half the island of Hispaniola in the Caribbean Sea. Just north of the island is a shallow area called the Silver Banks. That's where the whales are found. During the summer, humpbacks live in the cool, murky waters of the North Atlantic where there are huge schools of small fish to eat. They migrate 2,000 miles down to the Silver Banks in the winter so they can have their calves in warm, calm, protected, tropical water. This is the best place to film them underwater because the ocean is so clear. I will be working for the week aboard the Turks and Caicos Aggressor, a live-aboard dive boat that spends about 2 months a year here in the Dominican Republic. I board the boat and meet Captain Amanda Bryan.
For most of my expeditions, I need a lot of dive gear. But for this expedition, all I need is my mask, fins, and snorkel.
Soon we depart from the marina and begin a 90-mile trip north over the open Caribbean Sea under a beautiful blue sky. Our journey takes about 6 hours. When we reach the silverbanks, I can see why this area is popular with the whales. Isolated coral reefs dot the entire area like a minefield. They provide protection from waves, but the water between the reefs is still 80 to 100 feet deep, providing the depth that large animals like whales need. This is just one of many shipwrecks that have accidentally hit one of the reefs in the Silver Banks. In fact, the bank gets its name from the large number of galleons carrying silver and treasure that supposedly sank here. Captain Amanda carefully moves the boat around the coral heads to a mooring where our floating home away from home will stay all week.
Water, so I need at least 300 feet of line out at this point.
Soon it's time to launch the Zodiacs. We will use these smaller boats to attempt getting close to the whales on the surface.
Keep going, keep going.
While the Zodiacs are going into the water, humpbacks surface around our boat. I can hardly wait to get in the water with them. The next morning, my team and I board the Zodiac for a day on the water. Now it's a matter of patience and persistence. While Captain Dennis is driving the boat slowly in search of whales, I'll be watching the horizon for hours looking for whale spouts. Before we find any whales, some dolphins find us. Our dive master Mario is on the bow with a keen eye for whales in the distance. Finally, a whale that looks approachable.
2 o'clock, 100 yards.
The whale is just hanging out, not moving very fast, and doesn't seem afraid of our Zodiac as we float nearby. It's time for me to attempt getting close to the whale in the water. I put on my snorkeling gear and lower myself very quietly into the water. Once I have my camera, I float silently in the water to see if the whale will come over and check me out. The whale is hovering down below, looking up at me. She might be curious, but not that curious. I wait a bit longer to see if she'll come up and investigate. After a few minutes, the whale starts to surface. Either I've piqued her interest, or she just needs a breath of air. Humpbacks can go nearly an hour on a single breath if they need to, but resting animals like this one usually breathe every 20 minutes or so. Soon it appears that the whale is just getting a breath and has no interest in me. But she turns around for a quick look anyway. If she would just come a little closer. No such luck. She turns and swims away. Her massive tail, called a fluke, is as wide as 2 cars parked next to each other. I watch her swim away. Chasing after her would be no use. Even when they're barely swimming, whales swim much faster than snorkelers.
So frustrating. The whales are just really skittish. They don't want us near them. We're actually frightening them. It's hard to believe that an animal that big could be scared of us.
So we head off looking for some different whales. What we need to find is a mother and calf. Sometimes the calves are more curious than their mom.
Okay, 2 o'clock whale.
Mario finds another whale and decides to see if it will let him get close. He puts on his gear and slips into the water. I'm waiting to see what happens. But the whale vanishes.
We're having a little bit of difficulty getting the whales to accept us. They don't mind the boat so much, but when we get in the water, they're swimming away. Makes it tough.
Fortunately, there are plenty of whales around, and soon we find another one. Once again, I silently slip into the water. There's no way I'm going to sneak up on a whale. They know we're here. I'm just trying not to frighten them with a big splash. I look around to find the whale. You might be surprised how well they blend into the bottom from a distance. And there she is, about 40 feet below. Her calf is hiding below her. Soon the calf sees me in the water and comes out for a look. This looks promising. The calf appears small compared to his mother, but he's larger than a minivan. He only looks small because his mom is larger than a school bus. The calf takes a quick look at me and decides to go back down to his mom. But pretty soon, Mom needs a breath and starts heading to the surface. The calf follows. As he passes me, he does a barrel roll just for fun. Eventually, his curiosity gets the best of him and he finally swims over for a look at me. He comes so close that his fluke is only a foot from my lens. And then he comes back for another pass. I can feel the water move as his fluke passes by.
Oh man, that was just epic! Wow, there is just no way to describe that except magical. I was looking at this calf, it was huge, it was looking back at me, kind of staring at each other, and it was really playful, and Mom was letting it come over and hang out. Just such an amazing experience to be in the water with an animal so huge.
It's getting late, so we head back to the boat to enjoy a beautiful sunset and get some rest. The next morning, we load the Zodiac again and hit the water looking for whale action.
Sitting on it for a while.
They have?
Yeah, I don't think anybody got in. This stuff might be.
We see a mother and calf resting nearby, so Mario and I go in to see if the calf will play with us.
Okay, ready?
When we approach, the mother is rolling around while her calf is staying on the other side. Soon the calf gets curious and comes over to check me out. Then Mom comes over too. She gives me a look, takes a breath, and dives down after her calf. Later in the day, I come across a couple engaged in a Valentine dance. The female is hovering vertically in the water with her flippers out to the sides to beckon the male over. she has juvenile jacks, a kind of fish, nibbling on the loose skin on the front of her rostrum. I wonder if she finds them annoying, like flies buzzing around a person's head, or if she enjoys the cleaning she's getting. She doesn't mind my presence at all. I float right over her head, and she just hangs right below me with the complete attention of the male humpback. It's a remarkable spectacle to float above this whale and watch her relax with tiny fish nibbling on her nose. Later, having witnessed an incredible spectacle, Mario and I return to the boat.
Wow, that's amazing. They're so huge, but at the same time, they're so graceful. I mean, they just relax when you get them in the right mood and they let you come close. They're just so relaxed about having us there. It's amazing. They'll let you so close.
And so, at the end of another day at the Silver Banks, I watch the sunset and think back on the magical experiences I had with the humpback whales. Of all the places in the blue world, this is clearly one of the most special.
Meet Jonathan Bird, one of the world's top underwater nature cinematographers. Traveling the world on assignment for all the major networks, he is an Emmy Award-winning authority on the underwater world. In freshwater or salt, reefs, wrecks, or caves, Jonathan documents the world beneath the waves. Welcome to the Blue World.
Recently, I got an email from Chris Whitlock, the father of one of my biggest fans, Jake Whitlock. He thought I might be interested in this paper Jake wrote as a homework assignment. It turns out that Jake's biggest dream is to go scuba diving with Jonathan Bird. Well, you know, sometimes dreams really do come true. And boy, do we have a surprise for Jake today.
But first, the production team has to find Jake's house. You would think someone would have brought a GPS.
It's right here.
Yeah, I mean, you can throw a golf ball across it.
Yeah.
How can we be lost?
With me is Catherine Apps, a scuba instructor who specializes in certifying younger divers.
Hopefully he doesn't see us coming. That would ruin the whole thing. Hey!
Hey!
Hey, Jake!
Hi!
How you doing, man?
Good! Where are you guys here?
I got this from your dad, this paper that you wrote about scuba diving with some guy named Jonathan Bird.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so here's
said that to you?
Yeah, so here's the thing. In order for you to go scuba diving with me, you actually have to become a scuba diver.
Oh.
So guess what I have here? I have a special person to introduce you to. This is Kat. She's going to be your
Jake.
dive instructor.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
All right, to get started with the certification here, you're gonna have to do a little bit of reading.
Okay.
Here's your open water diver book. So you're gonna get started on that. And once we start doing some dives, your own dive log book.
Oh, thank you. So cool.
So you better start reading right away, mister.
Yeah.
We meet Jake's parents and fill them in on Jake's adventures to come, but we're keeping a few things secret.
We're gonna read through that book. There's gonna be a bunch of questions you're gonna have to answer.
Okay.
We're gonna do a classroom portion, and then we're gonna jump in the pool and do some work with you in the pool.
Okay.
All right, and when you're good and ready, you take an exam. You'll pass. Flying colors, no problem,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And then we're gonna hop in the ocean.
Okay. Oh.
Jake has been dying to go scuba diving since he was 4 years old when he did this drawing.
Yeah, he's wanted to be underwater for a very, very long time.
What Jake doesn't know is that the surprises are not over. But first things first, Jake has to learn to dive.
Cheers.
In the classroom, Kat teaches Jake about diving physics, the basics of the gear, and how to untangle a regulator. And then she takes him to the pool where he must pass a swimming test. You can't really be a scuba diver if you can't swim.
Twirl around with your hands.
She checks to be sure he can tread water.
Clap your hands. Clap your hands.
And executes a perfect cannonball. I'm not sure if the cannonball is part of the class, though. Once Kat knows Jake is comfortable in the water, he's ready for his first experience breathing from a scuba regulator.
Okay, so where are your hands gonna be? There you go. Get your feet in the water. Feet in the water, there you go. Makes things a lot easier.
But as he discovers, just getting into the water with all that gear is a bit of a challenge. And then the big moment. Jake breathes underwater for the first time. Next, Kat teaches him to control his buoyancy, using a small ring through which Jake must swim without touching the edge. It takes him a couple tries, but when he finally gets it, time for a little underwater fun.
So how'd you like it?
It was amazing.
Yeah?
Dream come true.
To prove he actually learned something, Jake takes a written final exam and aces it. With the classroom and pool work behind him, now Jake must prove his skills in open water. He and Kat will do 2 ocean dives in the murky Atlantic off the coast of Massachusetts. The water's chilly, so Jake needs a wetsuit. He struggles a bit putting on a wetsuit for the first time. Kat and I are suiting up too.
I can't even get this off.
With his dad watching in amusement, Jake finally squirms into the wetsuit and he's ready to tackle the North Atlantic. I've made my way out to the water, ready to film Jake's first open ocean dive. Jake and Kat take a dive flag to let boaters know where they are. There's a last-minute adjustment underwater, and then Kat tests Jake with a series of exercises and drills. She wants to make sure Jake knows what to do in an emergency. There's even a moment to explore some wildlife, a rock crab desperately trying to get away. And then, his first of 5 checkout dives is over.
The sharks were amazing.
There were no sharks.
So that was your first real dive.
Uh-huh.
Tell me what you thought. I mean, what was it like?
It was amazing. So much fun being down there, swimming around, being able to breathe. Seeing the rock formations underwater with all the seaweed on them was really cool because you can't really see them from up here, but seeing them down there was really cool.
Jake's almost ready now for his adventure diving with me. But we're not gonna do it in the North Atlantic. No, we're about to surprise Jake again. We hop a plane to a tropical island with crystal clear water, Grand Cayman. Grand Cayman is a world-famous diver's paradise in the heart of the Caribbean. We stay at Sunset House, world-renowned as one of the ultimate hotels for diving. And later that day, yet another surprise for Jake.
Jake! Just the guy we're waiting for, buddy! We have a huge surprise for you. I want you to see something humongous. Check this out.
Oh my God.
This is a gift for you. This is from Subgear and Diver Supply and Sunset House.
Oh my God.
And I'm going to introduce you to Adam, who's going to tell you about what you have just won.
Nice to meet you.
We've got mass snorkel fins with the booties for you. We've got suits, you're not cold in your dives, and a BCD, and a regulator, and a bag to carry it all in.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. That is cool. You know what? This is unfair. I'm the host and I didn't get anything.
Yeah, I'm the lucky one.
You are the lucky one.
I'm the star.
This is cool.
My show now.
Wow. I'm out of here.
Jake, it turns out, is also a runway model.
Introducing Whitlock, I guess.
Equipped with his new gear, Jake goes with Kat for his final checkout dives right off the dock at Sunset House. In the crystal clear water, Jake practices his skills until Kat believes he's ready to go exploring. Then Kat takes him on his first tour of the amazing underwater world of Grand Cayman Island.
Congratulations, Jake. You are officially open water certified.
Thank you so much.
Now let's go diving.
Yeah.
The next day, we head out to the reef for a real dive. And now that Jake is a certified diver, we can dive together. First, a briefing about the dive site.
And then you'll be able to see the top of the reef there. Lots of fantastic corals.
You ready? Let's do it. Go! We're alive.
The Cayman Islands are built from coral, which grows on top of an underwater mountain range. I show Jake the drop-off where it gets really deep. Then we head into shallow water to explore some fun passageways through the reef. As we get ready to return to the surface, a little celebration. What started as a dream in a school paper came true. Jake is having a blast. The next day, I have another surprise for Jake, which I give him on our way out to dive a shipwreck.
Jake, you've been through a lot this weekend, so we only have one more thing to foist upon you. This is gonna be fun. You get, as your final gift, an authentic pair of Force Fin Pros. That's the exact same model that I wear. And these are our gift of Bob Evans and Force Fin. He's the guy who makes these things. And you'll notice that he's even signed it for you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, those are authentic Force Fins.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You'll have to thank Bob for me.
I will. And you can try them on this dive if you're feeling, you know, living dangerously.
After all, I heard how much better these are than the normal fins. So
They are.
I think I will definitely have to
They
try
are
these.
much better. All right.
Okay,
let's go diving.
Our next dive is on a shipwreck. First, Jake and I listen to the dive briefing.
It was actually sunk this year in January. It took from 10 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock in the afternoon for it to sink. And here it lies.
All right, let's go find this wreck. You ready, Jake?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Jake and I hit the water and can't believe how well we can see the entire wreck. The water is extremely clear. The Kittiwake was sunk as an artificial reef in January of 2010. It hasn't been down very long. The ship was thoroughly cleaned, all toxic materials were removed, and dangerous pieces detached before the ship was sunk. It's still like new, though. It hasn't been underwater long enough to build up much encrusting sea life. There is one homesteader who moved in immediately, though. This Goliath grouper just hangs out here on the sand by the propeller. He must be used to divers because he isn't bothered by us at all. The Kittiwake rescued sailors from damaged submarines, and much of its history is still classified. It lies in only 67 feet of water, an ideal depth for recreational divers. It's so shallow at the top that even snorkelers can enjoy this wreck. Jake and I swim above the decks, exploring the ship, imagining her secret past, the sailors who served here, and the adventures she had in the service of the U.S. Navy. Shipwrecks are fun to explore. In the Kittiwake's wheelhouse, Jake takes control of the ship. He may have a lot more trouble with getting a driver's license than he did with a scuba certification. And these jacks aren't taking any chances either. They're getting out of the way. Jake, newly certified and diving in the Cayman Islands, truly is king of the world. We have one last treat for Jake we can't pass up while here, diving with the Stingrays.
Now there's two Stingray cities on the island. We've got the dive site, which we're on at the moment, and then the sandbar where they take all the cruise shippers, okay? So the sandbar is about 3 feet deep, and you just paddle about and they brush up against you and all that sort of stuff. You don't get a chance to feed them like you do here, okay? We get a chance to interact with them properly and feed them.
Most stingrays don't readily approach humans, but here on Grand Cayman, years of fishing waste thrown overboard has attracted them. Stingrays are related to sharks, but as you can see, they're quite docile. They defend themselves with a sharp, venomous barb at the base of their tail, but they're very rarely aggressive. This is what divers feed them, little pieces of squid. Appetizing, huh? Sometimes you can lead them around with your hand, kind of teasing them until you give them the food. Jake discovers the trick for feeding the stingrays. You have to put the food in your palm and let them do the work. It takes some practice. Eventually, Jake and I have a stingray mini feeding frenzy on our hands. One of them develops a crush on cameraman Tim and won't leave him alone. I think Tim likes her. And so, after the dive at Stingray City, we prepare to leave the Cayman Islands. And would you believe it? Jake's school paper, in which he dreams about diving with some guy named Jonathan Bird, magically came true. Some say that dolphins are the most intelligent animals in the ocean. Many divers consider swimming with wild dolphins to be the ultimate underwater experience. But finding wild dolphins that will cooperate is no easy task.
This is the alternative, the Dolphin Encounter at the Kosa Sea Aquarium, where trained dolphins love to interact with swimmers and divers.
Curaçao is an island in the southern Caribbean, not too far from the coast of Venezuela. Divers love Curaçao because of the warm, clear water and healthy coral. The Kosa Sea Aquarium was built in 1984, and one of its biggest attractions is the Dolphin program. Not only can divers and snorkelers interact with dolphins here, but they can even take a half-day course to learn how dolphins are trained. Today I'm going behind the scenes to learn from the master, George Kiefer, the head of the Dolphin program here at the Sea Aquarium. The day starts before sunrise as George sorts the fish for the dolphins to eat. Each dolphin eats 25 to 30 pounds of herring a day, hand-fed by the trainers. George carefully checks the quality of each and every fish that the dolphins will eat and selects only the best ones. The others go to the shark exhibit.
Basically, we have the rule is in the fish kitchen is if in doubt, throw it out.
Later, I head out to the lagoon to get an introduction to interacting with the bottlenose dolphins.
Rubbery. It's like a wet inner tube.
Put your hands under his chin.
It's a little silly, but I get to kiss a dolphin.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
Yeah, don't bite. Lie there. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, buddy. Really?
Yeah. Are you heavy?
Yeah. Yeah, he's heavy. Your hand has that.
Nearby, another group are learning to interact more closely with the dolphins. But my next stop is George's office, where I learn about bottlenose dolphins by taking his hour-long dolphin course. After I become more knowledgeable about dolphin behavior, I'll be ready for my big adventure, a dolphin dive on the reef. Later, I head to the dive boat, where I meet several other divers who are joining me on the dive. George gives us a few last words of advice for the interaction. Underwater, there's no feeding, so the dolphins can choose whether or not they want to interact with the divers. How we act around them will have a huge impact on their willingness to play.
It's okay to touch her fins, the pectoral fins on both sides, the dorsal fin on her back. It's okay to touch those, but don't hold on, don't grab her. She's holding her breath down there, so imagine somebody grabbing you underwater. By late in the dive, she's going to be very comfortable with everybody. She might even swim right up to you, face to face. And if she comes right to you, cup your hands like this. She might just drop her chin right there in your hand and let you rub under her chin. She does like that. Just don't comb your hand over her face.
Finally, we leave the dock and head to the open sea. Somewhere out there, a dolphin is following the boat. Although the dolphins live at the Sea Aquarium, they allow one or two out onto the reef every day to play with the divers and get some exercise. Today, it's a female named Annie. Finally, it's time to suit up and, with a little luck, play with a dolphin.
Okay, next.
I'm ready. Are we good?
Yes, you look good. Go ahead,
You ready, Tim?
Ready to go.
I hit the water and immediately start looking all around. I hope Annie is in a playful mood, because if she's not, she might not come and play with us. When the dolphins are out on the reef, they're free to do as they please. But I don't have to wait long. As soon as she hears scuba bubbles, Annie comes over to check us out. It turns out the dolphins love to play with divers. This is one of those times when it's great to be the guy with the huge video camera. Annie is a real ham. She races around me, putting on a show in front of my lens, swooping in, twisting and turning, then zipping around behind me and back to the front faster than I can even turn to keep up with her. The faster I turn to keep up, the faster she swims around me. I'm starting to get dizzy. She seems to be having a great time, but then she leaves. George has jumped in to join the fun, and Annie goes right over to him. George is her pal. This is good news for all the divers in our group, because George comes over and stays with us, so Annie will too. At first, Annie only wants attention from George. He shows us how he's trained her to stick her tongue out. She stays down with us for so long, sometimes I forget that dolphins are mammals and breathe air. Every few minutes, she needs to run to the surface for a breath. But after she gets back with a fresh breath of air, George encourages her to say hello to some of the other divers. Soon he brings her to me, and she stays still so I can touch her soft skin. It feels rubbery and slick like a wet inner tube. but I can feel her strong muscles underneath that skin. She's a powerful animal, capable of swimming 30 miles per hour, which is really fast underwater. As George introduces her to the next diver, I film the fun and marvel at the incredible relationship Annie has with George. You can just tell they're great friends. Sometimes when I'm in the middle of a shoot like this, I get so involved in being a cameraman that I forget to appreciate the excitement of what I'm actually doing. Not today, because right now I'm doing one of the things that almost all divers dream about, diving with a dolphin, and it's awesome. All too soon, however, the fun has to end. We can't hold our breaths for minutes at a time, so when our scuba tanks get low, it's time to head back to the boat.
Thank you, sir. Got it? Woo! Now that was fun. You know, you can tell the dolphins are kind of used to that shtick. You know, it's like, oh, it's Monday. It's my day to go play with the humans. Oh man, I can't believe it. Can you take my Monday? It does make one point, right? They're captive, but they must not mind it too much, because if you can bring them out on the reef, if they didn't like it, they could swim away, but they don't. So they must find something about it not so bad.
The fact is that the dolphins at the Sea Aquarium were born and raised in captivity, and the hard part isn't keeping them from swimming away, but in fact convincing them to leave the safety of their home and go out on the reef, as George explains.
The easy part of the program is coming back. Going out has always been traditionally the more difficult part of the training. And I think the reason why is coastal bottlenose dolphins are territorial. You know, they don't roam the oceans. They're not like these pelagic species that will, you know, move about through huge swaths of the open sea. Now, these guys adopt a coastline and they stick to it. So what we're doing is, you know, once they've become accustomed to their facility itself, what you're doing is you're sort of exposing them to more area around the facility, and they're co-opting that as their range, their territory.
George also explains that not all of the dolphins like to go outside the Sea Aquarium. Some prefer to interact with people in their private lagoon. I'm so glad to discover that these dolphins are happy and healthy at the Curacao Sea Aquarium, and especially grateful to one special dolphin named Annie, who came out to play with me, even if it was just for an hour.